watch this?
How?
Ew,
How do you watch this? Dude, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Hello, you're listening to How Do You Watch This, a movie review podcast where each week we give each other a movie to watch in the genre we love, but they don't. My name is Demi and I love horror.
My name is Megan and I love romance.
And this week I had Megan watch the movie Cloverfield, a found footage monster flick for this week and for our new thread, which we are keeping secret for now.
Yes. I would first like to just compliment you on how beautiful that introduction was and how seamless it sounded. It was almost like you were reading something, and I'm a little jealous.
It's just like engraved in my head at this point, I guess.
Yeah, I can't relate because last week I like disassociated from reality and I was like, I don't understand our...
And you said like you hated the intro, so now I'm like, should we rechange?
No,
I now know it.
No, I listened to you say it and it sounded good. And I'm like, what was happening to me last week?
We'll pre-record it.
Yeah, there we go. We'll just like insert it.
Yeah. It never sounds bad.
It's fine, whatever. So the movie Cloverfield was directed by Matt Reeves. It was released in 2008 and it is a sci-fi horror.
Do you recognize the name Matt Reeves?
It's familiar, but not enough. What else did he do? He didn't do Paranormal Activity.
No, he did the new Batman with Robert Pattinson.
Oh my god, that was so good.
I love that
Chef's
movie.
kiss.
Yes.
It was beautiful. First of all, I mean, it's not just because it's Robert Pattinson, but like it definitely
It was just
helped.
good.
It was just good.
It definitely helped.
It was really
But it
good.
was just a good like crime. I loved it. I'm so
Yeah.
excited for the next one and for the Penguin show.
Yeah. I didn't know they were making a Penguin show.
Yeah, so it's gonna be out
Cool.
this year.
Oh,
so I'm very
cool.
excited.
Yeah. I really, really enjoyed that. So all right, that's good. We can talk about him as a director in a little bit. I do think like he made good choices. So I'll say that. But we'll jump into my little snapshot, and I'm gonna be fully honest here. I basically sprung on Demi this morning that we needed to do the podcast today because my schedule was all wonky.
Yeah.
And so I finished watching this after work. So I started during my lunch, and first of all, I'm like watching this movie and it starts with like a black screen, and so all I see is my reflection like eating these huge heaping spoonfuls of oatmeal, and I was like, this feels like this is the horror movie. And so then I finished it after work, and that was great. But basically I have not really streamlined this snapshot. So bear with me because this was me voice memoing myself the notes that I was gonna write. So we're just gonna kind of like go with it and see how this takes us.
I mean, as chaotic as the movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes. Fair enough.
It's kind of all over the place. The camera shaking.
Yes,
and all that. So
the changing in timelines. So basically, the movie starts with an introduction of home footage between a man and a woman, and we later learn it's Rob and Beth, and they were clearly intimate the night before. You can see that there's a relationship there. This is not the first time they've met. They've been together more, maybe not intimate more than once, but they've definitely have a relationship. It starts at 6:42 a.m. And I say that only because at the very end of the film, it's also 6:42 a.m., which I thought was very interesting. Numbers are my thing. I'm just, they call me a numbers girl for a reason.
have to find a good number horror.
Oh, God. So the guy, Rob, is looking out over the city. He's documenting the day that they're about to have together. And then the footage cuts in and out regularly with footage of the modern day. So every once in a while, we catch glimpses back to this recording from, I think it was like April 17th or something like that. And we get glimpses of that day. But for the most part, present day is May 22nd. I believe it's May 22nd. Rob is going to Japan for a new job. And his brother and his brother's girlfriend are throwing him a going away party, and they took his camcorder and they recorded over this date that he had with Beth. So that's why we keep getting back and forth slices of the two timelines. So the cameraman is Hud, Rob's best friend. The main players of the movie are Jason, his brother, and Lily, his brother's girlfriend. So HUD is documenting throughout the night the events for posterity's sake. They're basically doing that kind of like testimonial thing they do at weddings where they're like, what's something that you love about the couple? Except for just for Rob. Midway through this party that they're having, Beth shows up, so the girl from the beginning, the introduction, with a different guy named Travis, which was so funny. With a different guy. You almost never hear that name, so every time I'm like, got you. A different guy named Travis. It has been about a month since that beginning of the clip. So, you know, obviously they're not in a relationship anymore. Something happened, whatever it was. So they argue in the hallway, whatever. Beth leaves, goes back to her apartment with Travis, and Rob is distraught. So HUD and Jason take him up to the roof to kind of console him, talk to him, whatever. And when they're there, they end up seeing that there's like this huge explosion that occurs and all these lights flicker off and then on again. So they run inside trying to figure out, they think it's an earthquake. They don't know what's going on. They turn on the news. The news doesn't know what it is that's happening. Next thing you know, their apartment is like shaking. Everyone gets out onto the street and you see that buildings are coming down. The Statue of Liberty, her head has been thrown. It's just chaos abounds. And what then occurs is this group of people, 4 of them, right? These 4 people trying to survive and doing their best to evacuate. So they try to cross the Brooklyn Bridge. And as they're crossing the Brooklyn Bridge, Jason, the brother, is in the lead. And Rob gets a phone call from Beth saying that she's trapped. And so he calls everyone back to him. And Lily and HUD are able to get back to him, and Jason is like standing up. He's like, what are you guys doing? Where are you going? Come on, let's go. And as he's saying that, this monster's tail smashes into him, kills him, breaks the bridge. They're running for their lives. At this point, they decide that they are going to go and try to save Beth. And so the whole movie, Demi's just shaking her head at me, and I'm, yes, agreed. This whole movie is their journey to try to find Beth, which involves a lot of near-death experiences. At one point, I forgot that there is another character. Oh my God, how dare I forget? Marlene.
She shows up, I think, right after the bridge incident, right?
I think she was with them on the bridge.
Okay.
And then it was like right before they got on the bridge. After the Statue of Liberty, they find her.
Right.
She knows that it's a monster. She's discombobulated. But so there's Marlene, and HUD has a huge crush on Marlena. And so she ends up saving HUD at one point and gets bit by one of these parasites that came off of the monster. Marlene they all end up going into this government facility, this kind of like makeshift
clinic.
Hospital.
Yeah.
That the military had set up. And they find out Marlene got bit, and they pull her aside, and she basically explodes. Like, she's bleeding out her eyeball. She's vomiting blood. And then all of a sudden you see this explosion come out of her body. So she's gone. And now it's just HUD, Lily, and Rob. And they are going to go and essentially they climb up 59 flights of stairs to get to Beth, who's impaled on a metal rod. They get her off the metal rod. They bring her down. They get to an evac site for the helicopters, and Lily gets on the first helicopter. I don't know why they wouldn't send the woman who was impaled by an iron rod, but whatever.
Yeah, it's incredible she actually survived that, because pulling her off the rod should have killed her, but anyway.
Exactly, and I will be speaking more about that later. So then the 3, HUD, Rob, and Beth, get on the next helicopter, and they think they're going to be safe. They see that the monster's getting bombed by the city, by the military and everything. And then the monster, it seems either they get hit by a bomb or the monster hits them. I'm not sure which one it is, but
the monster.
It was the monster. Matter. Okay, I assumed it was the monster. Mm-hmm. The helicopter goes rocketing into Central Park, where it lands, and somehow HUD, Rob, and Beth survive that crash, and they get up and they're helping Rob out of the helicopter, and HUD drops the camera, picks it up, and at that point, the monster standing right above him eats HUD. Beth and Rob run off. They end up getting into a tunnel. They're between like the major police and the military and the monster, and they're just like hunkered down. And at this point, they're saying, basically documenting who they are, and then the town gets nuked by the entire city of Manhattan gets nuked to kill the monster. And then it ends on like a flashback to the date, which is just Beth saying that she had a good day. So that's the movie. A really, really bad run through. Sorry, my snapshot was not great, but
I think it's pretty good.
Thank you.
Covers all the high points.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot that happens, and there's also not a lot that happens. And the whole movie itself is really only an hour and like 13 minutes. Like, I think it's an hour and 22, but minus credits and everything, it really is not long.
Yeah, the length, I grabbed something on it, but it was supposed to be about 80 minutes, which is the length of a long-running mini DV tape, which was a common format used in camcorders. So it's intentionally supposed to be like pretty short.
Yeah, everything did feel very intentional about it, and that's where I was saying earlier about the director, Matt Reeves. I did feel like everything was done very purposefully, and everything that was included in the film was purposeful. And so that's why I had a hard time saying something to get deleted. But I did end up choosing the part with her landing on that rod. So I want to talk more about that later, though, because that's kind of like towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But that's my deleted scene. But the only reason I picked that is because of logistical standpoints.
I agree.
Otherwise, I think everything else made sense.
Yeah.
I can understand why people, when this first came out, did not like the found footage style of it. It is very disorienting when you're watching it. It is very clearly like home movie. And I feel like they could have probably made it a little smoother. Like made it like home movie, but like 2.0.
Yeah. They because even theaters put out warnings.
Yeah.
This will cause motion sickness, and it was like a huge thing. That's all people talked about. I remember my mom was like, I don't want to see it because I don't want to get sick, and it is like a lot, and I appreciate the realism of it because it does feel very legit. Like compared to other found footage movies I've seen, it's like really well done in that aspect. And some of the footage, like I think they said the actor who played HUD filmed almost most of the footage. Crazy. Because he was actually just running around with a camcorder. So it's pretty wild. But I do agree that they probably could have, like, it is a movie. You know, you want people to enjoy it. So they probably could have just, you know, pulled back a little bit. Because there were definitely some points where I was like, ooh, wow. Like, that's a lot.
A couple times it was hard. And I feel like I had a little bit of a step away from that experience because I was like taking notes and things like that. So I was like not completely immersed. But whenever I did fully immerse in it, there were a couple times where I was like annoyed because I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking at like the ground, or I'm looking at like a sideways camera.
Yeah. And imagine seeing like this in theaters, like a giant screen. No. I probably would have gotten motion sickness if I saw this in theaters.
Yes, definitely. I definitely would have. I'm very prone.
I was curious how you were going to take it because I was like, fuck, I forgot Megan has bad motion sickness. I wasn't sure if it was just like car specific.
It's pretty specific to like being in a car and moving because I do sometimes with like video games and stuff, I can get a little motion sick. Same, like the first time I ever played Minecraft with all the hopping around you do. It was a little disorienting, but this was fine. I didn't feel sick ever watching it. I did feel very annoyed because you're not getting, and I think this felt very intentional, you're not getting like good glimpses of what's happening. You get like this really quick flash and you're like, what did I just see? And was that what I think it was? So that's it. And I know that it was the intention for it to feel like this is actually happening and this is like your experience almost.
Yeah.
Especially because like if this was actually occurring in real life, then you wouldn't be getting good glimpses. If you're running away from this monster, this other being, you're not going to be able to like be just staring at there and get like a really cinematic view of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to talk a little bit about the characters themselves.
Okay.
The main characters. First of all, we have HUD, and I want to start with HUD because he is the cameraman, so he is the guy basically controlling the narrative the whole time. And I thought it was so funny the way it started with him recording testimonials and him being so confident in himself, and he's doing the worst job ever.
It's like so bad.
He's doing a horrible job. He's like cutting people off or like just not getting their testimonials. He's clearly like so infatuated with Marlena, and she does not want anything to do with him.
And the video's like on her a lot of the time.
Yes.
And like I'd be so upset if I received this back. I'd be like,
Yes.
what the hell are you even doing?
Yes, Lily is giving this heartfelt message to Rob at one point, saying how he feels like a brother to her, etc. And then he's like, meanwhile, zooming in closer and closer and closer to Marlena. Like, dude, what are you doing?
So the actor was TJ Miller, and he is like a controversial actor. He's the actor from Deadpool.
Oh,
and
right.
I forget
His
the
face
stuff.
looks so familiar.
Yeah, he was like a baby. Like this, like he looked so young. This was like his breakout role, and he was casted because of his ability to like improv. So they really wanted someone that could just kind of like, you know, naturally say things in the moment. And so
and he did do a really good job. His lines were funny, so I'm curious how much of it was improv.
Yeah, you know, he is funny, and I forget like what the controversy is around him. It's not good though.
I remember Brett saying something like he was apparently a jerk on set, for one thing.
Since working on Deadpool 2, he became deeply embroiled in controversy, including allegations of sexual assault by a woman who attended a college with him. So, but yeah, so that was him.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to basically separate the man from the character because unfortunately, the thing is with Hollywood is we have so many of these men who are grimy.
Dude, there's now stuff coming out. So P. Diddy and all his allegations, and he's taking people down with him, which, you know, as he should.
Oh my God. Yeah. But
there's some discussion. I don't know any details, but apparently Ashton Kutcher was brought up, which he, you know, there was a little fishiness with him.
There was,
anyway.
Yes, because he was defending his former co-star.
Yeah.
Of that 70s show.
Right. So I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Like I said, there's only like 5 men in Hollywood where I'm like, decent men. Everyone else, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't. I need proof.
Yeah.
So
agreed. And it's unfortunate. And here we are every week verbally saying how attractive certain actors are, but
separating the character. It's character from the actor.
Yeah, exactly. But we will now be unfortunately complimenting his acting skills because
well, it's a shame, you know, like he is funny, like he's a comedian and he's good at improv and, you know, but he's a scumbag, so
yeah.
Well, figured.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm curious how much of his role was improv then, but he did a very good job, and I found it did feel very like authentic, the lines that were coming forth, and funny. He had a lot of good lines that he came up with, whether that was in the script or not, but he was kind of saying things like, you know, talking conspiracy theories, which definitely felt like they were part of the script. But then there's like moments where he's like, why are you talking about this? And he's like, if I don't talk about this, I'm gonna shit my pants. And I was like, that's really funny.
Yeah, it felt pretty real, and I know the director wanted the cast to know each other well before filming, so he wanted them to like feel like friends. There was a whole thing with this movie with the casting. The cast, they didn't know what they were auditioning for at all.
What?
So the movie was like hush hush. And the one actress thought it was a romance she was auditioning for until
shut up.
She was hired on and realized, no, this is a monster horror flick.
Get out.
Yeah, that so they didn't know exactly what they were auditioning for. And
I feel like you would at least know the genre. That is so wild.
Yeah, the movie itself, even the trailer, the only trailer that came out was a clip of the Statue of Liberty's head flying and landing into the city. Like being knocked off, and that was it. There was no title, there was no nothing, which was really great marketing because it caused people to look everything up and try and figure out what this movie was about. They even made MySpace pages for the main characters, and they were posting as the characters, and so it was like a whole
Wow.
thing. And then the name Cloverfield was like a placeholder name at first.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I think they said, because J.J. Abrams,
Yeah.
produced it. This was actually his idea, the movie. And
I'm not
Cloverfield was, like,
surprised.
yeah. It was like a stop he would get off at, but like in California, and that was like the name Cloverfield. So it was
okay.
like a placeholder, but they ended up keeping it. So I never thought too much about the name until I read that, and I was like, yeah, like what the fuck does Cloverfield even mean?
Right. I was wondering that, especially because the monster gets nicknamed Clover, but that was
Yeah.
because of production. They chose to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, the movie had a whole mystery thing going on, and no one knew what it was, and even the cast was like, I don't know what I'm signing up for. So
Wow, that's so
really,
interesting.
yeah, no, it was really cool and definitely good marketing, because you want
Yeah.
people to be like, what is this?
Yeah.
I want to
yeah.
see it now. So
They even said something that I was reading, because I did just very small research afterwards, was that most of the information and background that you have about the monster is all just from various marketing campaigns they did. And
Yeah.
it makes you want to go into like a deep dive, because they say like all the history to the monster was released in marketing, not in any movies. So
Yeah,
super
yeah.
fascinating.
The one thing about the monster, and this is sad, is that it's supposed to be like a baby.
A baby, I
who is
know.
pulled and looking for like his mom, and he's like confused. And I was like, no, why would you say that?
No.
I hate knowing that. And
I
like
know.
watching it, I'm like, he's just sad. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a baby.
I
Even though
know.
he ate her.
All these people. But you think about it too, it's like if it was my dog, right? And they're going around eating like little like ants, essentially,
Yeah.
comparatively. I would be like, my dog doesn't know better.
They don't know.
It's
It's
just
a
a-
little snack.
Yeah.
They were hungry.
Then we have Rob. And Rob,
Oh, Rob.
here's the thing. He's a likable character because he's trying to do the right thing. He's in love. He wants to save this girl. He doesn't know what he's going to stumble upon when he gets there. But he is so...
It's
How-
just the call he gets, right?
Yeah.
It's Beth saying, the apartment fell on me. I can't move. I'm bleeding. Of course, this is horrifying news. But it's like, bro, you got to think that she's not going to survive, right?
Right, exactly.
So he's like, wants to go back. He's like, I can't forgive myself if something happens to her, if she dies. But then everyone else is joining him. And to be fair, he's like, I'm going to go anyway. They didn't have to follow him.
Correct.
But like, they're his best friend, his basically sister-in-law at this point. And then, Marlene's the rando. But
Yeah.
like, you're risking everyone's lives here. And
Yeah.
Brett he was like watching it with me, and he could not stand Rob. He's like, fuck this guy. This guy's the worst. He's just getting everyone killed. And I'm like, well, to be fair, he said, he's going to do it no matter what. He's not forcing anyone to come with him. And Brett was like, if I called you like that, do not come for me. I would say stay over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna come for you. And he was like, well, that's stupid. I'm like, you wouldn't come for me? He's like, well, I'd come for you. But I'm like, okay. So like, you do exactly the same thing as Rob. Like,
So I was
crashing
thinking,
on this guy, but
I know, I was thinking about it a lot. Like I was thinking about, okay, if it was me in this situation, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So I feel like if it was Travis, the man who I've been with for 13 years, yes, of course I would run after him and get him. If it was some random person who maybe I've been friends with for a while, yeah, they're good friends with me. I don't know, dude.
yeah. Apparently he was in love with her since, they were in college.
I know,
So
it just
this
makes
is
it a long time coming. I'm trying to visualize me outside, like if it was something else, I'm sure I would still go for them, but I would not want anyone coming with me. Like,
No.
it's just, it's
No.
not a good choice. So I fully understand his decision. And let's be honest, if he didn't get that call from Beth, he didn't stop and pull aside, they all would have died when that bridge collapsed. Because
It's true. Yeah.
And that bridge collapse was somewhat traumatizing, considering the fact that we just recently had a bridge collapse near us. I was like, oh god.
I forgot. I didn't even like think about the fucking. And I was like, oh my god.
No. Yeah, it was.
Oops.
I was like, oh, this is a little real, Demi.
It was like coming back to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't remember them going to a bridge, and then I'm like, oh wait, I remember the bridge.
Yep. Pretty
So,
devastating bridge moment.
Yeah, oopsies. But
So
anyway.
Demi would like to apologize to anyone who was devastated by the bridge collapse because that was very insensitive.
At least it wasn't the same bridge.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah, you're right.
It's fine.
Yeah. So I can understand in some ways Lily continuing on with Rob and HUD continuing on with Rob. I have a harder time understanding Marlena because if it was me and I was in her shoes, and these are people who, admittedly, I have barely any relationship with.
Yeah, she's like friends with Lily, but I don't even think they're like best friends, right? She's just friends with her.
They're just friends. And there was an opportunity for her to go with the crowd and evacuate the city.
Yeah.
If it was me, I would have been like, peace, guys. See you later.
Yeah. I am not hanging out with a group I don't know that well.
No.
Venturing further into God knows what. I'm like, I'm leaving with the police.
Exactly. I would be doing everything I could to DTFO because no. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't understand why she went, but
right, exactly. Like Lily, okay, it's her best friend. She's ride or die. All right.
Yeah.
She also just lost Jason, so she's going through some trauma. She's unwell. She is obviously devastated and trying to lose less people.
Yeah.
HUD, I don't think he has very many brain cells to begin with, and I think that he's gonna go follow Rob no matter what. So the three of them I can understand more. I do get more and more irritated with them the more time goes by because it's like so obvious that she's definitely like she's gonna be dead. She's gonna be dead. She's for sure gonna be dead. And if she's not dead, she's gonna die.
Yeah, because like, what are they gonna do? Like, they get there and she said the apartment's on her, and it was just a fucking pole through her chest, which is still bad, but like, she was being a little dramatic. But it's like if she was actually underneath of rubble, how are you going to get her out? Like, you're not going to get her out. Her legs are probably destroyed. You're lucky she just had a fucking metal stick in her chest.
Yes.
And then pulling that out, she would have died. Like, there's no way she would have survived.
First of all, it looked like it was like near her heart.
Right. That's what like bro was like, isn't it like where your heart is at?
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, it's not a good spot.
No. Everything you learn, they say, do not remove whatever item it has that has been lodged into you, because when you remove it, then the blood starts spurting from that. It's like holding the blood in, and now the blood's going out. This is a huge metal rod that went through her whole body, and then they pull her off this metal rod. So in real life, they would have needed jaws of life to cut the rod to get her off so she could travel with the rod.
Right.
Then she is able to cross from one building's roof into another building.
I know.
And then go down flights of stairs and then start running to safety. She runs to safety.
Yeah, she seemed fine. Like, after they got her out, I'm like, oh, she's 100%. She looks better than half the fucking group.
Yes.
Like, there's no way she'd be able to do anything.
Unreal. So that was my deleted scene because she should not have had the rod through her. They should have put her under... It would have been better for her to have a wall fallen on her, or something like maybe her fridge fell on her and crushed her legs or something like something that wasn't that, where she would for sure have been dead. No doubt about it.
I agree. I think that Beth being alive and like perfectly fine for me is like, okay,
ridiculous. And then she's like clearly horrifically injured. And she isn't on the first chopper out. She's on the second. That's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know the decision. If they just like push people out, I don't know. Maybe they didn't notice she was like really injured.
Right. They were definitely in a rush to get people out because they were about to nuke the city.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't know. And I don't even know if Lily survived because we didn't really see.
Yeah, I looked it up and it's canon that she lived.
Okay, good for her.
So it's not, there isn't like a presumed dead.
Okay.
But yeah. And it's also canon that they evacuated approximately 1.4 million people. So
nice.
Decent amount lived.
Yeah.
Just none of the people in this movie.
Yeah, it was like, well, it was one monster, and then he was releasing like little parasite things.
Yes.
Seemed to do a lot of fucking damage.
Oh yeah. So we can take a minute to talk about them. Because I wrote, the monster has babies dropping off. And I really thought it was like a spider, where spiders have those little babies that come out of its back like crazy. Right. But it seems like these are parasites that are living on the monster.
Yeah, because I don't know, I guess it kind of looked similar. You know,
it did look similar.
Looking, but yeah, I don't think it was babies coming off of it.
Right. And they did the one tried to drag Hud away, which is when Marlena comes down and saves him, and that causes her ultimate demise.
Yes.
So if it was trying to drag him away, it gives the impression that it was trying to maybe bring food back to the monster. I don't know. That's possible. Yeah. It's an option, maybe.
It's possible. You know, I don't know much about the monster at all.
No.
So it could have been that those little things are little helpers or something. So, because it just bit her. Like, I don't know if it would have eaten her. Like, maybe, but it was kind of like stalking them. So, I don't fucking know.
And it's really funny the way it shows people just stopping and everyone. So, the Statue of Liberty's head gets thrown and everyone just stops, takes out their cell phones, and starts taking pictures. And it is so apt to the times where it's like, that's exactly what people would do.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't, as someone who never thinks to take pictures ever. That would not be my first action. I would be like, get me out of here. But that is what people immediately tend to do.
Oh, yeah.
I also have to applaud the police for still working. I was very impressed by the police officers who were like, let's move, let's go. Because I would be taking that badge off and I would be getting out of that town.
I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just a police officer. Like, this isn't my...
I'm not the fucking military. Let the military handle that shit.
Right. You're supposed to deal with the intergalactic beings.
Yeah. I'm not Space Force.
No, exactly.
NYPD.
Can we also take a moment that this movie has a connection with The Thing? Because it also involves someone in a foreign language yelling incoherently at someone.
I have what he said, too.
You what?
I have what he said.
Oh, okay. Give it to me.
So he said in Ukrainian, he's asking for help to find his daughter and his family. He can't live without them, which is really sad.
Oh, yeah. That's really sad.
It seemed like he was like trying to push them away from going forward.
Right.
That's what it looked like. But he was actually asking for help. And I was like, aw. The more I look at this movie, the more sad I get.
That's so sad. I thought he was basically like, there's a monster that way. Don't go forward.
Don't go. But no.
Okay, well, I hate that. So
opposite of The Thing, where The Thing's like, get the fuck away from that dog.
Right. Oh God.
Yeah. But, you know, with the technology now, we can translate through our phones.
That's true. Thank you, phones.
Took the time to listen.
Although, the downfall of our phones now is that Rob's phone dies, and he's able to run into a store and steal a battery and change the battery on his phone.
Good old Nokia phone.
And I was like, dude, couldn't do that nowadays. He'd be sitting there waiting for that charge.
Nope. Imagine fucking... garbage iPhone. Like,
no,
it would fuck us over.
Just have a brick in your hand at that point.
Right, a survival weapon.
Yeah. I thought that going into the subway was a smart move. And it takes them a little while. So my first thought would have been to run along the train tracks to get closer to her so that they're not just sitting there and waiting.
Right.
So I'm smarter than all of them is what I'm trying to say. Me watching this movie from the comfort of my couch was able to come up with this idea a little easier. So then this is my most memorable scene, and it's Rob getting on the phone with his mom and the reality of Jason dying kind of hitting him, and he starts crying. And this moment is what really ruined the movie for me, because the whole movie, all I can think about is this poor mother who's sitting at home thinking her son, Rob, is getting evacuated as they speak, because he's like, don't worry, we're being evacuated. Thinking he's being evacuated, knowing that she lost her son, Jason, and just being worried and waiting for more communication from Rob. And then he dies and gets nuked with the city. Yeah. I hated that. Thinking about being that mother and having empathy for her, like, how horrible. You have no control of the situation.
I know.
So that's sad. Awful. So I really hated that.
Yeah. No. No, that's definitely awful. Like, to kind of just, and you're just watching on TV, like the news is broadcasting, like, there's a fucking monster here. And it's like, imagine seeing that and you're like, you know, not to compare it to like 9/11, but like it's kind of a similar thing where you're watching on TV and you're like, well, there it goes.
Oh,
I know people that live there or work there, and it's like you're just watching, and it's horrible to watch, but I can't even imagine what they're on TV and they're like, there's a fucking monster in the middle of New York. I wouldn't be that surprised, like, in 2024. But also, I'd be like, what do we do?
Right. I feel like my first thought would be to get as far away from New York City as possible, because I would be like, I don't want to be anywhere near the path of this monster. Who knows where it's going next? Yeah.
It's like, are there more?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
What?
And then when you think about it, they nuke New York City. So here's a couple of things that I have an issue with that. Thing number one, as I'm watching this movie, I said at one point, as they're climbing up the steps to get to Beth, I wrote, the city doesn't get leveled because the footage was found in Central Park. So that was my theory. I was like, there's no way. I remember from the beginning of the movie, the intro says this footage was found in Central Park. Whatever. So how did this footage survive a nuclear explosion?
Was it definitely a nuke?
Yes.
Okay.
From what I read, it's a...
They do, like, the sirens go off, which is, like...
Mayday.
Not good siren. Yeah.
The not good sirens went off.
The you're going to die now sirens.
Yes, at least in the Cloverfield wiki that I was reading.
With the technology, you know, remember, Nokia is like a roach. That's gonna fucking survive. So camcorder,
it got buried under rubble, so it is possible. It is possible. But I was adamant that they were at least going, the city wasn't going to get nuked, that they were going to be able to stop the monster before that happened. That was my my feelings, my thoughts. The second thing is, with a nuclear fallout, everyone in the tri-state area really gets affected. Like, it has miles and miles of coverage where you have really horrible...
You think the U.S. military gives a fuck?
No, I'm not saying they do, and I also do understand. So I do understand that you're thinking of the greater good, right? There's a monster on the loose. You have to kill it, because if not, who knows how many other millions of people will die. And nothing else is killing it. And you don't know what to do next. And I can understand them being like, all right, this is our Hail Mary. It's the last thing you can do. I don't know why I ever use the term Hail Mary. I don't watch football. I don't really know what it means. But so this is their Hail Mary. They're gonna do that. Okay, fine. And you're like, all right, you know what? Millions of people might die from the ramifications of this, but, you know, billions will live. Okay, fine, whatever. You're gonna be all hoity-toity like that. But I'm just thinking of me, if I wasn't in the city, what I would want to do, I would definitely want to get us, you know, you would think that they would try to evacuate and move people as far from New York City as possible.
Right. And they could have been. I don't know if they would think that
that's
far,
obviously
but
not part of the
it's
movie.
possible that they could have been pushing people, you know, out as far as possible. You know, even just because, like, you don't know where the monster's going to go. Like, it can go down, start heading towards Jersey, you know, and...
Right over to Hoboken, and then everyone's...
So, you said you watched 10 Cloverfield Lane?
Correct.
Okay, so this is like... J.J. Abrams directed that one, and that one was like a blood relative, that's what he calls it, to Cloverfield. Okay. So, it's wasn't supposed to be really a sequel. It just ended up being called that. And even when you watch it, it's just like it doesn't feel like it's in the same universe until like the end. And even if you watch it knowing Cloverfield, you have that assumption, and it kind of kills the like theme of the movie where, you know, the main character, not the main character, but like the main antagonist is like, is he actually crazy or is he not? It's definitely the best, I think, of the trio of movies that are out. I would probably definitely rank that the best one.
Yeah, it was very well made.
Yes. Yeah. 10 Cloverfield Lane is really good. Cloverfield Paradox is the newer one that came out, and it's on Netflix, and it's fine. I wish it was a lot better, and it's a sci-fi, and I can spoil a little bit for you.
Okay, that's fine.
It's pretty much the energy in the world is low as shit. Like, they just don't have enough energies to survive anymore. So a group of astronauts go into space, and they have this plan. I don't even know fully what it is, but like to grab energy from this source, and they create this like paradox. They kind of open multi-dimensional shit. So things go wrong on the ship. People are kind of like transported and half transported around. And so the monster that lands on Earth was a cause of the astronauts fucking shit up.
Oh, okay. So it's like a prequel kind of.
Yes. So the alien is like from a different dimension. And Paradox ends up becoming like a prequel movie.
Okay.
So I wish it was better. It's fine. You know, if you want more lore, you can watch it. But
what is with like the multiverse is just all anyone wants to make movies about. It's like the apocalypse movies of 2012. You know what I mean? Like
I know. It's like such a popular theme. I guess it's just interesting when done well.
Yes.
But apparently we are getting an official sequel to Cloverfield. I don't know when, but it was said that it was going to happen, and I think J.J. Abrams is working on it. He'd be producing it, so we'll see what happens. This was announced in 2021, so that's a little old.
Yeah.
But, you know, not completely out there, and in the age of sequels and reboots, I can totally see it happening. So.
Yeah, it could happen. That'd be good. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down to watch it. And they said it would be a sequel to, like, a direct sequel to the first movie.
Okay, interesting. So it would pretty much be the aftermath. It is interesting because apparently J.J. Abrams did say that the monster is dead. Like at the very, very end, in the after all the credits, there was like a whisper of it's alive or something like that. Yeah. But then J.J. Abrams did say that the nuke killed it. So I'm curious if he would double back on that, having said that.
There could be another monster on Earth. You know, like it could take place somewhere else, like a different country.
Mommy could come up.
Yeah, you know, mommy's around in fucking Australia. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be Australia.
I was gonna say Japan, but I'm like, Japan gets hit enough with Godzilla and shit.
No, but I'm pretty sure they made. I think they made the reason why the monster woke up was like the Japanese's fault or something like that. They like said they did like they sent down probes to investigate, and they woke him up, and that's why
for the monster in Cloverfield.
Yeah, that's why. That's what I read.
They blame other countries.
Right. It's never the US's fault. We just are the victim.
It's never our fault, of course. Yeah, this movie was created because J.J. Abrams was like, what if America had like a Godzilla monster?
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
it's definitely a similar concept. Yeah. And I love monster movies, you know, giant monsters fucking up the city. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it was good.
So I don't have anything else really to say. Yeah. So
I'll give my
final thoughts.
Oh, main character, smash or pass. I chose Rob to be the main character, and I said smash. I loved his dedication to his girl. Like, I'm not gonna, you know.
I agree with that. He's cute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Main villain, had to say pass. Not only is it a monster, but it's also a baby. So it's just
also a minor, and we not support that.
We don't like that at all. How likely are you to survive in this situation? I gave myself an optimistic number. I said 2. I feel
Yeah.
like that was a little bit high, but
I feel like my luck would be garbage.
Right.
Like a building would definitely fall on me.
Right.
Something ridiculous would happen to me.
well, I feel like I would have been halfway across that bridge when it got
Yeah.
hit, and then I would have been in the, goodbye. I would have been trying to get out of there ASAP, and that would have
Yeah.
been my downfall. What'd you recommend to a non-horror fan? This one I felt like was like a and or situation. Like,
Yeah.
it really depends on person to person. I said yes because it wasn't that scary. I feel like it could be something that I would recommend to somebody. Would I recommend it to my mother? No. Would I recommend it
Yeah.
to somebody who is okay with like kind of obscure movies and, isn't really a
Right.
fan of horror? Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't say was just how very, very sad this movie is. And that is what played a big role in my rating of it.
It is more sad. Like,
Yes.
from this watch, I was like, oh man, and reading more stuff, I'm like, I just feel sad. Like, it's like a tragic, if it wasn't a monster, like, you could even, like, put in a different, like, tragic event, like,
Right.
something horrible
Right.
happens to the city, and it's like, these people are trying to survive, and
Yes.
they're like, they can't, and it's
Like,
upsetting.
if you were just having it be a tsunami hit
right.
and, like, did all this
like a natural
destruction,
disaster.
it would just be straight up sad.
Yeah.
And so,
It's still sad because the monster's a baby.
right. It's sad on all accounts. The
It's
monster
on
doesn't know
all
what
ends.
it's doing. Yeah. No, it's all horrible. So,
Yeah.
I gave it a 2.5.
Okay.
So, mostly just because of the fact that it was sad and I was feeling frustrated.
Yeah.
But part of me wants to give it a higher rating because of the fact that it was well done. It was like artistic. It was like it felt almost like a work of art in a way
Mhm.
where maybe I'll up it to it. You know what? Impromptu. I'm gonna up it to a 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna take off for sad points. It loses one whole heart for sad because that really bothered me. And then it's gonna lose another heart just because I was just frustrated.
Yeah.
And
fair.
just with various other elements and aspects of it, but it was a good movie for what it was.
Mhm.
I just was unhappy.
Yeah. I really enjoy Cloverfield. I don't know if it's aged really well. I think when it first came out, it was definitely more exciting and unique, and now I'm like, oh, like I still enjoy it, like a fun little watch, but there's a lot to it where I'm like, that doesn't really make sense, or I wish they did this differently.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. It's a fun little found footage movie.
Yeah.
So not a lot of found footage movies are fantastic. So
Right. Okay. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. So my movie for Demi for next week is a Meg Ryan classic. At least in my opinion, it's a classic. It is Kate and Leopold.
I've never heard this movie. And I never heard of this movie.
Really? I watched it a lot growing up. We also would go to the bargain bins at Blockbuster a lot and get their leftovers. So maybe it's only a classic to me because
I might have to ask my mom. She'd probably know. She's seen all like the random shit, so she'd probably know what it is.
Yeah, it's a good one, in my opinion. The last time I watched it was a while ago, but whatever. Okay, I'm going to give the synopsis based on what I think it is, and then if I'm wrong, everyone can laugh at me next week. Okay. So, Kate lives in New York City, and her brother travels back in time and gets photographic evidence of New York City at that time. And then when he comes back, a man from the past named Leopold sees this man with a mysterious camera and follows him to modern day 2001 NYC and proceeds to get caught up with Kate and life in modern times. And yeah, it's about their time traveling romance and the ways in which love surpasses the greatest obstacles of all.
You said this was 2001?
Yeah.
Is this post or pre 9/11?
Good question. I feel like it's pre 9/11.
Okay.
Because it was definitely filmed. Okay.
Because I think what was the
So
movie
it
I
was
reviewed? That was like the first movie that to like be done after 9/11 in New York. I forget what one it was though.
Was it You've Got Mail?
No, Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, interesting. Another blonde. It was released after 9/11. It was released on Christmas Day in 2001.
Okay.
But it was definitely filmed before then.
Okay.
Because they would not have filmed and edited it and everything in like 2 months after the chaos and devastation that occurred.
Just smoke in the far back.
God, that's you. You were just having a really dark day, aren't you?
It's full of dark humor. I don't know. I'm feeling silly.
Oh my god.
I'm excited for this. I like time travel and I like Meg Ryan, so.
Oh, and this is also something I want to start doing. Hold on. I'm going to share where it can be currently streamed if that is available to people. So.
Oh, fun. That's a good idea.
So, you can stream on Max. Unfortunately, I just canceled my Max subscription.
Oh, what?
So, maybe it'll still be going. I don't know. You can currently stream it on Max or on Showtime. You can rent it at anywhere you rent videos and movies.
Thank you for the specifics.
You're welcome.
You can rent it wherever the fuck you rent. I don't know.
I almost started going to specifics, and I was like, if people rent movies, they know where to rent a movie. I don't know why I'm. Oh God.
Well, luckily I have Max, so.
Do you? All right. Well, if mine is canceled, I'll be DMing you.
Well, it's my dad, so then.
Oh my God! No, I can't do it again. I can't have it happen again. Maybe he'll like me now after meeting me at the wedding. He'll be like, okay, second daughter.
My mom likes you, so she could.
That's true. I'll just text your mom and be like, hey Martha, remember those nails I did?
Can I get the password to your HBO?
Oh God.
You guys can email us if you want at howdoyouwatchthis@gmail.com. You can DM us if you want on Instagram at howdoyouwatchthis. You can also like our weekly post, singular.
You're so amazing though. I'm just so impressed by you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Every day I think about the things I could do for our podcast, and every day I make a choice not to do those things.
Well, I think TikTok is going to get banned, so I don't know if we'll be able to even continue doing anything on TikTok, but we're How Do You Watch on TikTok, so.
Well, we'll find it. I think, whatever, I'm not going to get into philosophies.
We'll just VPN.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
This is an advertisement. Please sponsor us. NordVPN.
Yes, we would not mind having access to such.
We need to continue our posting on TikTok. So
yeah, thank you.
Anyway, we'll see y'all for next week.
All right, enjoy that little rom-com.